Today, we've got a fitter's choice comparison of the two best core drivers of 2025, Ping G440 Max and Titleist GT2. Emma is with us. She's going to hit both drivers on TrackMan, and we'll break everything down for you and tell you why our fitter selected these two as some of the best drivers of 2025. Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf here in the tour van at Second Swing at Minnetonka, joined by Emma Carpenter for a Fitter's Choice Club comparison. Two of the best drivers of 2025. We're in the high MOI or standard driver category, Ping G440 Max and Titleist GT2. So Emma, you have GT2 in the bag, so we'll try to keep this. I know there's going to be some natural bias involved here, as there always will be, but there's a reason also why our fitters conducted, or I should say, took this survey, and GT2 came out as one of the top two drivers. Right. It's because it performed the best in the fittings, and that's even with a release last summer versus a spring. So still has the momentum to be really good in the fitting base. So I guess I want to get your thoughts on just what you like about GT2, why you play it, why it's in the bag for you, and what your favorite things are about the GT2 driver.
Definitely. Well, I had TSI2, then I switched to TSR2, and then now I got GT2. So, I mean, just it's been upgrade after upgrade, and hearing all about the engineering of the GT metals and actually how different it is. The GT metals, I think, are definitely something special. So for me, it's a no-brainer to have this one in the bag. I picked it up and was automatically swinging it faster, hitting the ball straighter. My dispersion went like this. I mean, carrying it an extra 5, 6, 7 yards. It was, this is an awesome golf club. Ping, I know that Ping makes great golf clubs. I had a ton of teammates who played Ping drivers all through college. I haven't actually ever had a Ping driver in the bag. I did have a Ping fairway wood. So, I think that I would definitely still like the feel of it, but it'll be interesting to see. I definitely believe your fitters and that it's a good golf club. Yeah,
Ping has always tested really well in the forgiveness elements of their woods as well. So that's the one big piece. Titleist, as you mentioned, some of the construction updates that they've made. The seamless thermoform crown is new for them, optimizing weight to improve that performance on strikes all over the face. Ping has done some new things. They have a new free hosel design, which kind of accomplishes similar things to what Titleist has done, basically optimizing the weight throughout. This weight in the back for Ping is now heavier than in the past models, which optimizes that forgiveness as well. So,
got it.
But we're going to test everything in standard today. So we've got the G440 Max. This weight is in the neutral setting, standard hosel setting. Same with the GT2. We're also going to use your gamer shaft to make things really just as absolutely comfortable for you in here as possible. So this is the Graphite Design DI6S. So I know you've been playing this one for a while. I guess
if it ain't broke.
So do you have any hypotheses here or theories of what we might see in this test?
So question, with this heavier weight on the back that helps with forgiveness, does that change speed? Does it change distance? What does that
so it's primarily what it does is it's going to improve performance on the mishits, right? Okay. But what it also allows you to do is you could move this to the draw setting to kind of promote a draw bias. You could move this to the fade here, and you could have a little fade bias. And having it this far back and a little heavier allows you to maintain that MOI if you make those changes, versus previously the weight was, I think, 25 or 26 grams. Now it's 29. So just, I guess, salvaging some of that MOI if you were someone that wants to make those adjustments. It's another little feature of the G440 here. So
cool.
Let's do some testing here, huh?
Let's do it.
So I'll start with the G440 Max, and I'm going to tell you right away, that's going to look very different than your GT2 at address. Just club head design, the crown, the turbulators on there. It's going to look very different. So is there any, I guess, what are your thoughts? Try to verbalize what you're looking at there.
This is the classic Ping trademarked look.
Yep.
Is it like, I'm actually so interested to know, I'm sure that it is, but for all of these manufacturers making clubs a different way and trying to achieve getting the most out of a golf club with all of the engineering that goes into this, is it like top secret how they make these golf clubs? Like, do they keep it like under lock and key in a safe, like how they're building this stuff?
So there's I don't know. I don't know the exact answer to that.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
I
Because they
know-
all do it differently. If there was one right way to do it, then everybody would be doing it the same way.
Yeah, I mean, there's patenting and stuff involved and everything like that. So like, there's certain things that Ping does that other companies don't, right? But like, one example I think back to is last year, 2024. You had 2 or 3 of the big companies came out with a 10K driver, where they were marketing it as a 10,000 MOI driver, and they happened to do it in the same year, in the same fashion, right? Calling out the 10,000 MOI. So that tells me that there's some tricks of the trade that might be getting leaked around, and I don't know this for certain. This is mere speculation on my end, but to your point, I think that you get some of the best engineers in the world, and you kind of divvy them up among some of these different manufacturers.
Right.
And through their research, through their science, through their data, they're going to come up with very similar things, right, to accomplish the best golf clubs. So, it is funny though how, despite all that, some of the things being similar across, you see the crown and the design of this one and how different it looks compared to the Titleist GT2 that you'll hit. So.
Right. Yeah, no, it definitely looks different. I've always felt like Ping, I don't know if it's actually a bigger head. It feels like it looks bigger, like it's just kind of longer in the back.
It probably is a little bit
Yeah.
bigger footprint to look at than your driver.
Yeah, Titleist feels just like a little bit more of a, more circular in a way, and this feels like it just kind of protrudes out.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, that was the first driver swing of the day.
Yeah, little low face there.
Low on the face. I mean, whatever. Honestly, the way that finished was not that bad for how bad that golf swing was.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just a little warm-up swing. We're good. Yeah. Whoa.
Interesting. A little bit of a draw there.
Why did it do that? Looking at the path and face.
It probably hit. Did you
hit it
feel
on
like
the
you hit it in a
toe?
good spot?
Didn't feel that bad.
Okay.
All right.
It could have been out on the toe a little bit.
Yeah, that's the only thing that would probably make sense.
The spin is a little lower.
Yeah, okay. That's probably what it was. Wow.
All right.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So what, in terms of, is this kind of similar, you're swinging your driver probably a little under 100 miles an hour. That's pretty normal?
No, maybe. I mean, I would normally swing it a little bit faster than that,
Okay.
actually. I wasn't even looking at the speed.
Okay.
No, I feel like I haven't swung it that slow in a little
You
while.
typically, maybe around or maybe even a little over 100?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
going to say, normally
There has
between
been,
98.
the Ping driver heads may be slightly heavier too.
You know what?
We'll get a comparison on that here too, and like when you put the GT2 down, we can see how that feels
Right.
for
Okay.
you.
Again, wow,
Okay.
that was better than it should have been. I must just be hitting it a little bit on the toe.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. I mean, here's the reality is that TrackMan actually, recognized 1.5 on that smash factor, and to me, if you're not hitting it the best, and actually we should note too that on a lot of drivers these days, there's the hot spot, so to speak, is kind of that high toe area where you maximize that distance by lowering the spin. So a shot like this will actually turn out sometimes it actually might go a little further than when you hit it right in the center, because you might hit in the center with more spin.
I'm really surprised at how low I'm hitting it. I've never really had a problem getting drivers up in the air. That's been like my highest one so far. I'm hitting it so low. Might just be because I'm inside. I have no idea.
These are fine. I mean, this is going well. I don't know. This is like, you're hitting the ball solid.
It's fine. It's not great though. I just can't believe it's turning over that much.
Wow, it is kind of turning over there for you on a few of
Why
these.
is it turning over so much? That's so crazy. Okay, that was by far my best one.
Okay. That's a
Okay.
pretty darn good one.
There we
right
go.
Yeah. So, yeah, talk to me about just how that driver feels. It's very different, obviously, again, than what you're probably used to. So.
I would actually say The feel at the setup is really good. Just in the backswing is where it feels so different than what I'm used to.
Okay.
Like when I'm actually
Interesting.
swinging it, like I feel like you can feel, like when I set up, like the look feels really good, and then when I take it back, I'm like, gosh, this is not what I'm used to swinging.
Interesting,
like,
because typically that feedback there would be more of a shaft thing, but it also could, I mean, I could definitely see a scenario where the weight distribution of that club
I think
head
that's what it is.
versus this one is different in that regard. So
call me crazy, and I don't even know how exactly different it would be from the GT, but call me crazy, but like, you know how I was mentioning that like it feels longer, or like it looks a little bit longer, and you said that it's a little bit heavier at the back. Like I almost feel like I can feel how long the club is.
Yeah, and that's totally fair.
Like, it feels like a big club face when I'm taking it back. Like,
and there's probably a mental thing too, to because I kind of went into some good detail at the beginning there about just look at all this weight at the back of the club, right? So now you're swinging and you're like, I got to really yank this thing down to make sure I can get the club head around in my swing. So but I think. I mean, these are really good driver numbers, right?
Yeah, I mean
149 on the average smash factor. We're getting a really good spin rate. Your total is right around 260.9 there. And again, we had really, you're mentioning that a couple times your draw kind of, really turned more than you thought. And there was this one here that kind of actually fell out of the fairway. But otherwise, you got 4 out of your 5 here that we are taking note of in the fairway.
Classic Drew, always having me hit drivers on a fairway that's this skinny.
It is
every time.
It is a small fairway. But I mean, hey, if you can hit 4 out of 5, 80%, and actually the one we removed is still in the fairway too. So,
Yeah. It took me, I would say, like 5 or 6 swings maybe to just kind of get used to it, and that's why I would say my last one was my best one there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Just for me, I think with the feel, like, I mean, once I take the club back, right about here, I always know what kind of shot it's going to be. And I feel like I felt confident in the setup, but when I was really actually swinging it, it just felt like I wasn't used to it. That's something I feel like that a lot of people should keep in mind when they're going into a fitting, is that sometimes if you go into a fitting with a mindset of like you really want a certain club, then sometimes you like literally try harder with that club rather than having an open mind. And if you can swing every single club like it's yours, I think that will give you really good information and feedback in terms of what actually works the best for you and what produces not only the best shots but just the most consistent miss.
Yeah, that is really good thought. And again, we're never going to remove total, like every little bias someone has, or if you look down at a club and you just like, oh, this is disgusting, like that's okay. And you probably won't swing it the best because of that. That's fine. But again, I think the open mind part, it's a really good point to have, because you might get into the bay and a club that you thought would be the best one just isn't for you. And that's fine. That's the way. That's why we have all these different brands, all these different models in here, is because we want to be able to service you the best way possible.
Totally. So. Well, I remember when the Callaway Paradigm came out a few years ago. I was in college, and my coach was like, Emma, you got to try this new driver. Mariana's using it. My teammate's using it. I'm not kidding. She is carrying a golf ball like at least 10 yards further. I'm like, no way. No kidding. And I tried it out. And I mean, I think I swung that thing for like an hour, and it was like, I just can't get it to work as well as my own.
And it's nothing. It's not an indication that Paradigm just wasn't a good driver.
Of course not.
Just for you and the way it looked, it just wasn't
the way that
wasn't for you. So
So I mean, I do think that this is probably a driver that I could get used to, and I think that it's really, really solid. I did like the sound of it. I thought that it sounded really good. It was.
I'm glad you brought that up, because Ping has come a long way with the sound of their drivers. I always say G425 was their driver. I guess it would be 4 years ago now is when they launched it, the G425 series. But when we were doing videos in here, you could hear all the way down the demo bays if someone was hitting a G425 driver, because it was so distinct and so loud and so like demo. Oh, someone's hitting a G425 in demo bay number 2 down there. So they've come a long way, and it sounds a lot better now. So
yeah, I like the sound.
So all right, let's get to GT2.
Yeah.
right, so now you put down GT2.
Yeah.
I'm sure you notice a big difference, and then we
Totally.
can talk about the shape too. It's more
Totally.
rounded than
Yes.
before
And
Max. Yeah.
I was right. I was kind of making that call, and I didn't even pick up the Titleist driver, mainly because it was behind your desk, but
Yeah.
I was going to pick it up to compare it when I started talking about the shape. But I was right. Like the Ping one is a little bit more flat on top,
Yep.
and then just kind of
It's almost triangular,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then the Titleist kind of comes up a little bit, and it's just a lot more.
like a pear shape. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So where I felt like here, I mean, I feel like once I set this down, the Ping would almost come out to here.
Yeah.
So it objectively, I think, is a smaller
Yeah.
head.
It's smaller to look down at for sure.
Which is funny because, I mean, I still have a memory of the first driver I ever got when I first started playing golf. It was an Adams Golf driver.
Yeah. Adams, that's the throwback brand.
Yep, that was the first driver I ever got, and it had this massive club head. And the guy who was coaching me at the time, who was just kind of getting me into golf, for whatever reason, I didn't really hit it all that well. You know, probably just because I was a little tyke beginner. But he was like, "Yeah, you know, I really thought that the bigger club head would be easier for you because it was literally just so much bigger.
Yeah.
I felt like it would feel easier for you to hit in the head and the face,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily."
Huh.
But in that memory always stuck with me of like, just because the club face and the club head is bigger doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean that you're going to find the
Right.
center of it more often.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just the volume of the club head.
Right,
you know?
right.
All right. So a good first swing there, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't even really think that I got all of that either. Pretty stock standard
Yeah. I mean, you hit it
shot.
almost dead straight. It's in the fairway. It's almost 270 yards out there. It's a good first swing.
That launched a little bit lower, but it really felt
You
like
got
I got
some
a
more
lot of ball
speed on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Actually, look at that smash factor. 1.51.
Yeah.
That
As long as I was aimed up the right, that
Yeah.
would be a good shot.
no, I mean that was some speed, and then I could tell too. There's a look element. You know, you're swinging that just a little bit faster.
Mhm.
Which again, that's totally fine. I mean, we're never gonna. We don't want to test with robots because when you're on the golf course or when you're in the fitting bay, there's emotions attached to everything.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So,
Well, 'cause you
subtle
wanna
biases, it's all there.
Yeah, you want to get the data on the misses,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
if you swung just solely based off of what was going to be an ideal shot,
Yeah.
then it would be different.
Right.
Or I guess I should say if you compared clubs based on
Mm-hmm.
which one was the best. Little push.
Slightly open club face there.
Yeah. Oops.
Okay. Again, you're
Oopsies.
150 there. Yeah, just a little bit open face, 4.6
Wow,
there.
I still carried it 242 though. Jeez. That's crazy.
You actually got some really good distance out of that one.
Yeah.
Still 100 feet in the air. Which
That's
typically,
something you don't see very
if you
often.
open the face, typically that means you're showing just a little more loft.
Right.
So
That was really, really solid.
yeah, I think that's going to be pretty darn good.
Oh, little push.
Ooh.
Okay. Man, I didn't think it was going to do that.
I got to say though, through 4 swings, I think the GT2 distance-wise
Yeah.
is winning. You're
I
hitting
mean, it's going like 10 yards further, isn't
Yeah,
it?
you're swinging it a little bit faster, getting a lot more ball speed.
Yeah. Okay, I hit that a little low on the face.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just missing it right or left. We haven't really hit one super straight besides
Well-
my first one.
So I want to note that because if you hit that one low in the face,
Right.
The spin actually stayed in a good spot though, which I like for Titleist. I know you're fighting the swing a little bit right now,
Yeah.
so that your face was closed that time, 0.8 degrees. But I actually like how, because typically a low face strike will result in spin kind of spiking quite a bit, going
Definitely.
up towards even 3,000. So to see it stay low there, I think is worth noting, and I think it is, and maybe you don't feel good about that swing necessarily, but I think that shows that the club is forgiving in that sense, where the spin will stay pretty consistent. If you hit it solid, if you hit it low face, you know, it'll stay in a similar spot.
Right, right.
Another increase in that ball speed. Wow, that's a good
That's
tee shot.
really, really solid.
Alrighty then. Let's see here.
That carried 247 or 249.
250 basically.
250 carry.
Yep. Let's see. I think this. We got a couple. Which of these? We got 6 up there. We like to do best 5 of 6. So which of these 2 do you want me to take out of there?
I feel like probably that one on the right, maybe, just because it looks bad.
I mean, I know this is, and I personally like best 5 of 6 because I think, and again, for the sake of this, we probably could have just done all 6 just based on the shots were not.
Yeah.
You know, in a fitting, right, I think our fitters will throw out shots that are kind of, you know, quote unquote egregiously bad, or like if you straight up top one or if you chunk one. Like,
right.
On the golf course, a club isn't going to change the performance of like a bladed, skinny.
Of course not.
You know,
right.
That's kind of my thought process on that. But anyway, all right, so here's our data with Titleist GT2, a Ping G440 Max, Fitter's Choice driver comparison. A couple things I noticed right away. A lot more efficient and a lot more speed with GT2. You could definitely tell that Emma was, you know, you were swinging a lot more confident, I think, with the GT2. Part of that is you're used to the look and feel. Part of it is I think you just like that shape better. And that resulted really in you know, in total yards here for this, 10 more yards.
Right.
I guess what else did you have feedback here on these 2 drivers? I guess one other thing I'm going to add too, that ping dispersion looks pretty nice at the,
I know,
at the
yeah,
end of the day.
I mean,
like that right kind of open face angle miss, so to speak, that you had, you know, at least, well, I guess we took one out that was over here too with GT2. So
it was right in there.
You know, this kind of rings. It's really similar to what we've seen with Ping over the years, is where they might not have been in testing the fastest or the furthest, but they've been forgiving and they've been consistent, and that's where a lot of the drivers in the past have won for Ping. So in that regard, I'm not surprised to see this kind of as the result, where maybe they're not the fastest here, maybe GT2 is a little bit farther.
Yeah.
But that dispersion's pretty nice too.
I believe it. I believe it. I mean, I think that with Ping too, I forgot for a second there how much turnover I was seeing with the Ping, because that was the thing. A few times I felt like I might have missed it, right? And it just like really drew pretty hard back to the left. Versus the Titleist, I feel like if we were on the golf course actually watching the ball flight, I would probably prefer to see, even with those right misses, you know, it just kind of started right and just big push out there. They were all with a club path that was relatively straight and then or relatively square, and then a club face that was like 3 degrees open, 4 degrees open. But so I feel like just overall with the ball flight, the way that it cuts through, but still gets that nice height, I think is really nice. Definitely really impressed with the dispersion on the Ping driver. You can't ignore that. The Titleist one, it feels really smooth through the golf ball, even on a miss. I mean, it just feels like butter. Versus the Ping, like I said, I did like the sound, but it felt like a little more of a punch. It felt like I was kind of working a little bit harder.
Sure.
In a weird way.
And those are all valid pieces of feedback, absolutely. I think, and then it comes down to, in this particular test, and again, you know, the results may vary. You know, a player that comes in, different golfer testing these 2 drivers might see something slightly different with the numbers. But I think the main note that we need to take here is, you know, we got some really good performance on the forgiveness of the Ping. And then for you're swinging confidently with that Titleist. The GT2 is, you're able to rip that thing, get some distance out of it.
Yeah.
Dispersion
was a little bit wider today. I have always felt like I swing drivers better outside than inside. Inside, I just feel like so enclosed. I feel like I'm going to hit the wall or something. But, I mean, even with those misses, even with like those high right misses, the fact I was still able to carry it, I mean, 240, this one just barely right, 250. I mean, look at the numbers. If you're looking for distance, that I'm 10 yards further total distance with the GT2 as opposed to the G440 Max.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, they're both great clubs. Your fitters really, they made good selections here.
I mean, as we talked about, I put you on a skinny fairway here too. So, you know, and you're still hitting fairway way more often than not. So with that said, go get fit. I mean, our fitters decided GT2 and P&G 440 Max
try these clubs.
Doing really well in the fittings so far in 2025. And if you're looking for a new driver, you got two great options here as Emma displayed today for us. So thank you, Emma, for coming in and doing the swinging today. This was great. Really good testing and good information here.
Thanks, Drew. This was awesome.